You can draw this in Procreate. During this easy drawing tutorial, I will show you step by step how you can create this colorful isometric room illustration in Procreate. It's perfect if you want to learn the basics of isometric room drawing. So grab your iPad and your pencil, download the color palette in the description, and set your canvas to 3500 pixels by 3500 pixels, and then we're ready to get started. The first thing we need for our isometric drawing is an isometric grid. To turn that on, you need to go to the wrench, then to Canvas, and then turn on Drawing Guide, and then tap Edit Drawing Guide. And then here at the bottom, you will find Isometric. And here at the bottom with these sliders, you can turn up the opacity, or make the lines thicker, or change the grid, but we'll keep it at 126 pixels. And here at the top, you can also change the color of the lines. And then turn on assisted drawing. That way, all of our lines, all the lines we create will follow the isometric grid. And that's what we need. And then tap done. Then for our brush, I want to use a sketching brush. So we can go to the sketching brushes that are in Procreate. You could use any of these brushes like peppermint or HB pencil. I will use a 6B pencil, but really doesn't matter what type of sketching brush you use. So just use what you prefer, and for the color, we can just go for black. Now I have the opacity of this brush set to 100% and the size at 30%. And at first, let's find like the center, that's over here. Then we'll go down like 2 steps, 1, 2. We'll start here and we'll go to the right 9 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll do the same in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'd like to go down 10 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do the same over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we can make a line towards the center like this. And where they cross, you can make a line going up to that corner. Then I'd like to add some volume to this wall. So we'll make a line like this. Then we'll go up, connect this, then go to the center. Then in this direction, connect it here, and then go down and connect this. Then for the bottom plate, I'd like to extend this a little bit. We'll start in this corner and go to this line, and we'll do the same over here. Extend it like this, and now we can make a line to the center and connect these two. And here as well, we can add some volume, make a line going down, then go to the center, connect this, and then to the outside here. So now we have the base of our room. To keep things tidy, we can put the furniture on a separate layer. So we can go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then to make sure that our lines will follow the isometric grid, we need to tap the layer and then use Drawing Assist, so that you'll see assisted underneath your layer name, and now our lines will follow the grid again. And first I'd like to make like a lounge chair. And I want it to be about 4 steps high and about 4 steps from the side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a little bit lower, something like this. And then I'll start about here and make 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go 4 to the front. Then let's go up a little bit and back to the back. Make a line here. So that will be the back of the chair. And then here we'll go to about this line. And another line and connect these two. Then we have this line in the back. This line going down. And then we have this line going to the front, and that will connect with this one. Now we have this one, that will connect here. So now we have a very simple base for our chair. And of course, it will also have these like feet. Let's make a line here, connect it here, and then move to this area. So underneath here, we can add like the feet of the chair. Let's just make these lines going down. And we'll have one here. But perhaps we'll have something cover that area. Then let's make like a pillow on top. I think about this high. Let's go to this corner, then over here. And then we have a line here that connects to this one. And then on top of this, I'd like another pillow, which doesn't necessarily follow the grid entirely. So what we can do is go to the layer, tap it, and then turn off Drawing Assist. And we can also tap and hold the eraser to make it switch to our 6B pencil. And we can get rid of some of these lines on the inside. We don't need this, and we don't need this, just to make it a bit more clear. Then let's go back to the brush, and let's make a diagonal line here. Then go down like this. Give it a little bit of volume, so we'll make a line here, and then a parallel line to this side. A little bit rounded. Here also parallel line, and then connected here. So we have this pillow at an angle. Then we can go back to the eraser and get rid of these lines that we don't need. Just to tidy it up a little bit. It'll make it easier to create our line art later. Then let's go back to the brush, and let's also turn on Drawing Assist again. So tap the layer, turn on Drawing Assist, and then let's make a little window over here. Let's start about here, go down about 3 lines, and here to the right, also 3 lines. So 3 blocks by 3 blocks. Then we'll make a smaller one on the inside. Keep the space about equal all around. Then we'll add a line like this. Go up here and to this side to give it that a depth. And we'll do the same on the outside. So make a line, go in this direction. Maybe we can make it a little bit thicker. A little bit further here, then a line like this, connect it. Then here we'll go down and connect it here. Then over here, I'd like to create something like a bookshelf. So let's make a line like this. Then we'll go down here. And then we'll move to the front, go down and connect this. Then we'll make a line like this, which we can connect to the back here. Then we'll go down, connect this. And this might be a little bit too big, but we can make it smaller later. Let's first create this volume like this around the edges. Then we can make a thin line like this going down. And then from this corner, we'll go to the back to where it connects to that line. And here we can go in this direction. It's like the back of that shelf. But I feel like it's a little bit big. So we can go to the selection tool, the S shape ribbon, set it to freehand, make sure that color fill is turned off, then select that shelf like this, and then go to the move and transform tool, make sure to set it to uniform, and then just make it a little bit smaller, something like this. And I tap the arrow again to get out of there. Then inside here, I'd like to add some books. And let's first erase this line a bit. Then grab the brush again And first focus on the fronts of the books. So just make a variety of rectangles. Some will be a little bit thinner. Some will be broader. Something like this. And now we can make these lines to the back. That's the top of the books. Next, I'd like to make a little side table. And I wanted to cover this part of the chair a little bit. So let's go to the wall. Then go in this direction. Then back to the front and then connect it here. So we have like this square. Well, it's not a square when you look at it like this, but it's a square in isometric perspective. Then let's add some thickness. Go down to the front, connect this back here and connect this. And now we need the feet. Let's first make these dots in the corners. And imagine them going down like this. And then connecting them into a square. Well, we won't be seeing that one, so we just need these. And then let's turn off Drawing Assist on this layer. And then let's make these rounded feet. And we can use the eraser to get rid of these lines, for example, tidy that up. We can also get rid of this. Next, I'd like to make a rug. Let's do that on a new layer. Let's tap the plus and then grab the brush. And I'd like to show you how you can put something round, like a circle, pretty round, how to put that into isometric perspective. First, we need to draw a circle like this. Hold your pen in place. Tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. Then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool, a little arrow, and set it to Distort. And now we are going to put our circle into like an isometric square. So we need to make sure that we have an equal amount of blocks here and here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is perfect. Now we can just move it around. And I want to place it about here. And then just tab the arrow to get out of there. And of course, we can use the eraser to get rid of this line that is going through our chair. And now let's do something similar to create a pot. Now let's tap the plus for a new layer again. And then we are going to draw a circle again, but smaller. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, then go to the Move and Transform tool. And make sure that this will create, well, will follow a square again, like an equal amount of blocks. In this case, 2. Like 1, 2, 1, 2. Now it's in isometric perspective. And I want the pot to be about here. And then let's duplicate this layer. We can go to the Layer menu, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, then go to the Move and Transform tool. And under Snapping, you can turn on Magnetics so that when you pull it down, it'll be magnetically connected to the other circle. Then let's go to Uniform and make it a little bit smaller like this. And go for something like this. Then we'll make a new layer on top. Let's tap the plus. And then with our brush, let's go in here and create like a pot shape. I want to create an extra circle here. I'll just follow the other one. And then inside, I'd like a nice wonky cactus. So let's just make a shape like this. And then add extra arms. Maybe one behind here, one over here, and a small one here. And maybe I'd like the pot to be a little bit smaller. Let's just pinch these layers together, then go to the Move and Transform tool, keep it set to uniform, make it a little bit smaller like this. Then let's go back to our brush. Let's pinch these layers with our furniture together, and then let's create a little lamp. You can use the same trick again, or you can just get a feel for how a circle would look, and make a line like this. We have a little circle, little oval shape, then a line like this, following the grid. Then we'll go down, again following the grid, and then we'll have the top of the lamp, another oval, and then these diagonal lines and a curved line like this. Very simple looking lamp with a little curve here. And then we can also add a little pot over here. Just make a rounded shape at the bottom, go up like this, very simple pot, and then a plant. Just something like this, a little like cloud shape. So these are all the basic elements of our illustration. We can use the eraser again to tidy some things up, like this cactus over here, and this line in the center over here for our pot. And we can also go to our room layer, and we can turn off Drawing Assist, and we can tidy things up even more by erasing these lines that go through our furniture. Just so that you have a clean sketch that is easy to follow in the line art phase. Now that we are entering this phase, we don't need our isometric grid anymore, so we can go to the wrench and then to Canvas and turn off Drawing Guide. Now you can still make your lines follow the grid. If you would go to your layer menu and tap the layer and turn on a Drawing Assist, your layer would still be assisted, and your lines, if you use your brush, would still follow the grid, which can be handy during the line art phase. Now for the line art phase, let's first pinch these two layers together and then tab the N and set the opacity of this layer to around 30% by using the slider. Then we can tap the plus for a new layer on top and start creating our line art. Let's first turn on Drawing Assist, and then for the brush, I'd like to use a brush under inking, the Studio pen. But of course, you can use whatever brush you prefer for your line art. You could also go for a different style. The dry ink brush, for example, is also very nice. It has a nice texture, so feel free to experiment with that. And for the opacity, I have that set to 100%. And we'll set the size to 20%. And for the color, I'd like to use this first color in the first row. And I don't want the lines to look like super clean. I'd like to have some wonkiness in there. I want some rounded shapes. So for the long lines here, like for the walls, I won't go to the end. I'll stop at the corner so that later when I turn off Drawing Assist, I can make some rounded corners. And with this brush, the harder you press, the thicker your line will become. So it will add like a dynamic effect Just follow these lines. And then for the floor, and I only want to use a drawing assist for like the really long lines. I think for the other objects we can go like freehand. And now let's turn off drawing assist. And now we can create that rounded effect. Connect these, add a little line like this, keep it playful. Connect the corners here. It's okay if you have some like wonkiness, doesn't have to be super tidy. I want a playful look for our illustration. Make this rounded here as well. And a little line like this, doesn't have to connect entirely. And then we can move on to the window. Can also make that a little bit rounded. And also a bit playful. I don't want it to look too perfect. You can just rotate your screen as you go. Then for this shelf, I also like to add some rounded shapes. Give it a playful look. Rotate your canvas. And also make this inside be like rounded. All those rounded shapes give your illustration this friendly look. Then for the books, we can go in here and make these like little semicircles. Go up, well, not really a semicircle, but at least a little bit curved. So we're not following the sketch exactly. Then go to the back here for the top of the books. And now we have this line and this one. Then for the chair, we also need rounded shapes. Also for that pillow. You can definitely leave some gaps. here we have like this, almost like a mattress. The big pillow at the top. Make it a little bit rounded around the edges, the corners. And here we can leave some gaps again. And we can make these feet a little bit rounded, like this. Now, if you are enjoying creating rooms like this, then I think you'll like what we're doing this week at Patreon. We're working on this top-down view of a bedroom, and in this two-part tutorial, I will also show you how you can switch your scene to a daylight scene or a night scene. But this is just one tutorial. At Patreon, I have more than 200 Procreate tutorials waiting for you, so it's the perfect place to strengthen your drawing muscles and get your Procreate drawing skills to that next level. So it would be great to see you there. Now let's continue. Let's work on this cactus. Let's follow the outside. And then create these arms. Something like this. And then for the pot, I'll rotate my canvas a bit. And then the underside. And our lamp. And then our table with our plant. Again, I'd like to create these rounded shapes. That might be a bit too wonky. And this line doesn't have to connect. And then this plant. And a little pot. Then for our rug, I think we can use the quick shape here. Let's just follow the shape like this, and then hold your pen in place. Next, I'd like to add extra detail to our line art, but we can turn off our sketch layer. And now we are going to use the same brush, but at a smaller size. Let's set it to 10%. And for instance, over here, we can add these lines for some like wooden texture. And it'll also add some like playfulness to our illustration. We can also add some lines to our pillow, maybe a little bit rounded. Some extra touches to the lamp. And here our chair, following the grid. Mostly here for our plant, we can add some extra little touches, extra texture. We can add lines to the table. Again, creating some sort of a wooden texture effect. Here we can go vertical. Then for our cactus, let's add some lines. Creating an interesting pattern for our cactus. Also here, following the curve. And this one, for the pot, we can add some extra lines, maybe a little bit on the, like, what is it, the dirt. Then on the, like, shelf. Just making these lines follow the isometric perspective. Here for our books, we can add some lines here at the top for the pages, for the paper. And perhaps here on the covers. You can also make some lines on, like, the room itself, along this bottom part. And along the wall. And then finally, let's add some texture to our rug. Let's just add these little wiggles. Just in small little groups. Creating an interesting texture for our little rug. Yeah, something like this. Now all we have to do is add color to our scene. We are going to put the colors on a separate layer. So let's go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and drag that layer underneath our Lineart layer. And let's also change our background color. We can tap background color here, and we'll pick this 5th color in the 1st row. And then on our new layer, we are going to add colors, and we'll start with this color, 8th color in the 1st row, and we'll use that for our walls. And I can see that most of the lines, well, all of the lines are closed for our wall. So what we can do is set our Lineart layer to a reference, and then we can go back to this layer, and now we can drag in the color for the wall. And then we can also pick a color for the top part. We'll use this one, 2nd color in the 2nd row, and drag that on there. And while we're at it, let's also add a color for the window here with the 1st color in the 2nd row. Let's drag it in there. And for the floor, we'll use this color, 4th color in the 1st row. Drag it in there. And for the sides, we are going to use a color that I forgot to add. So let me make it appear over here. And we are going to add this 5th color in the 2nd row to the side. And on this layer, let's also add a color for our rug. Let's use this one, 6th color in the 1st row. Drop it in there. And for our window, let's use this one, 10th color in the 1st row. Let's drop that in there. And also here for those sides. We'll also use this color for the table. Let's go in here. You can also tap continue filling once you see it, and then just tap in these areas. Then let's add a new layer for the other elements. Let's tap the plus, And let me show you another way to color things. Let's grab this color, 7th color in the first row, and let's turn off reference here at the top layer. Then go back to this one. And you can also just use your brush to create a shape, to follow the shape. This chair has some gaps in some areas. So it's handy to use this strategy to just follow the outline and then make a closed shape and then drag in the color. Now you can put the different elements of the chair on separate layers, or you can just color on one layer. Having the elements on separate layers can make it easier if you want to change colors at a later stage, for example. It keeps you more flexible. But I've already decided my colors, so I'll just continue on this layer. Let's grab this color, 3rd color in the 2nd row. And then I'll color this pillow, the bottom part of our chair. I'll make a closed shape and then drag in the color. We can also use this green for the lamp. And for this plant. And we can also use it for one of the books, for example. And for our cactus. Then drag in the color. Then let's switch to this pink, 6th color in the 1st row. Let's also color some books with it. Or maybe this one. And I'd like to color this pillow. Drag in the color. And I think it would also be nice for this pot. Then for the pot and the shelf, let's use this color, 3rd color in the 1st row. So let's follow the shape of the pot. Drag in the color. And for the shelf, first I'll go around the books and then around the outer edge. To make a closed shape around the books. Drag in a color. Then let's switch to this color, 9th color in the 1st row. Let's use that for the top of the books, for the paper. And let's also use this for the lamp. Then we'll switch back to this blue, 10th color in the 1st row. Let's color some more books. And then finally, here our dirt. We'll use this color, 2nd color in the 1st row. drag in the color. And then we need to do our rug. We can turn on reference for that. We can go to our Lineart layer, tab reference, go back to this layer, and then grab this pink 6th color in the first row and drag it in. Now for a final touch, we are going to add some shadows, and we can start with this layer. We can tap the plus, set that new layer to clipping mask, then we'll tab the N next to the layer name and scroll up to multiply. And then we'll lower the strength to 50%. And then for our color, let me set it to 50. Yeah, for the color, we are going to use this bright blue, 4th color in the 2nd row. And for instance, we can add, let me make the brush a bit bigger, 20%. We can add a shadow to this side. I'm going to imagine that the light is coming from this general direction. Then this will cast a bit of a shadow, and we can add a shadow to this side. Now, since we have some furniture on a separate layer, it can make it easier to add some shadows without having to be super tidy. Like this lamp, make a shadow like this. You can add some shadow around this shelf. Also here on the floor for the cactus, around the edge of the rug, and here for our table. It will have some shadow on the legs as well. And also on the table itself, this side, and a little bit from this plant. And here there'll also be a shadow for the chair. Let's not go over the leg there. Also a shadow behind the chair here. And now we can start adding shadow to the objects as well by making another layer, but then on top of this one, we'll tap the plus, set that new layer to clipping mask, and tap the N, scroll up to multiply and set it to 50%. And then we can start adding shadow to the chair, for example. Go over the side, also this one. A little bit of a shadow here on the pillow, underneath it. And behind here, a little bit underneath here, and on these legs, and here we'll extend over the rug. Then on our lamp, little shadow, and on our pot here, and on the plant. And we can also add some shadow on our cactus, just on the left sides, and on the left side of the pot. And then for our bookshelf, we can add some shadow on the inside here and a little bit on the sides of the books like this. Just left sides like this. So just by adding a very simple shadow effect, you'll make your illustration look more dynamic. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to share your work, and I'll see you next time for the next tutorial.